Losan Nandaga Gone, Tampichu, Nyansa Lembala Pepate, Pe, Gulon number Tapa, Tene, Tachawa Zangbo, Tene Rangi Senjin Kangala Pembege, Jorun La, Tandaya Chinambege, Tetartu, Gulon number Tapa Sene, Tete, Tusin Trola Mandroa. Tende Naruchi, Hujian La, Dodging Chuntum, Sunday, and then Picasso, Debatam Ruji Naruchi.
First of all, Rinpoche would like to wish everyone good morning, and he'd like to remind everyone to have a good motivation to practice the Dharma for your own benefit and for the benefit of all sentient beings. And if you have this sort of motivation, then it becomes the cause that it will actually lead to this sort of benefit. And so your time will not go to waste. And so please generate such a motivation and keep that in mind. And especially as we chant the short Vajradhara lineage prayer.
La
The earth is perfumed with scented water and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun, and the moon. Imagining this as the Buddha realm, I offer it so that all beings may enjoy that pure realm. In accordance with the capabilities and diverse aspirations of sentient beings, I ask you to turn the wheel of Dharma of the greater, lesser, or conventional vehicles.
Tene ta khasin ke kapso tanda jerdo jamro simchi tang doji simpe gamde de hyubare la tene te yang jerdo 다 제 담로 잡선로 와동 샘제바데 다 단단 알아서 다르도 그 람양다바 라 되네 죽토바 람만으로와 되네 람멤발라 만죽 마골와 다 티처들라 잡선로 와동 중중주도 샘제바 난게요라라 되네 내가 좀 정도 세나야 다제 센달라 징이다 파르치 라소바 도바 라이나야 그쪽서는 답선로 힘설와 답나 드니 디게 펜바 용아 대견도 단다 선바상보다 덴바시나 다 지당 근대부상보 중앙을 저와 임베잖아 송준주도 생제바데 갈체게 요라라 드니 대견도 도지 셈베 감디시나야 드니 타르투크다 도바질라 제와 tene parchi tang talwa yung nungi warela neka tsamje ong de sena ya ta ngaran so jing ngemba tang parchi la so ba tenzo kani jungi ware sena ta nganje le ngemba sa ba la tene junga ta yang na nyemong ba dba shu chimbo ye ba la tene yungi warela tene de topic itself doji sembala sorwata hyojung siena tene leda nyemon patenzo tene he pan tende yungi warala tela tene ngaranzo neka ke parchi tan jingi hiwa yungi warala tene te tavo nyamni sejo te kalche gre.
Yesterday, we discussed the meditations on going for refuge and arousing the mind of enlightenment, and then also the meditation on Vajrasattva. And so in general, we go for refuge in order to make sure that we enter the right path, to make sure that we do not go down the wrong path, or that we do not go down a lesser path. And so for this reason we go for refuge to prevent ourselves from going down a lower path, and go for and generate the mind of enlightenment to make sure that we don't go down the lesser path. And so here this is for our ultimate benefit, but also in terms of temporary benefit. This is by arousing the mind of enlightenment and generating a kind heart, a kind intention towards all sentient beings. This is something that is quite beneficial for us in this life, and is really extremely important to generate this kind heart, this kind motivation. And so for this reason, it is important to go for refuge. And it is important to generate the mind of enlightenment, both in the temporary and in the ultimate sense. And also often we have different obstacles that prevent us from going down the path. And what are these obstacles? These obstacles are primarily the karma that we have accumulated in the past, and all the bad karma that we have accumulated in the past, and also the afflictions that we have, the different afflictions of hatred and so forth that we have. And so we need to purify these, and so we need to meditate on do the meditation of Vajrasattva in order to purify this bad karma, and to purify these afflictions. And this is in the ultimate purpose, this is in order to purify our beings. But it is also for the temporary benefit of pacifying the karma and afflictions that affect us in this life, to pacify them and to get rid of them. And so for these reasons, it is important to meditate in this way.
Tene ta te jeso mendran porwata lamen nanjur ni re la tene te ya jerdo tangaranso karegu ge yore se na tene tartu deji tang demba tang dungal tang talwa tene chen tang talwa tang yenten tang demba ji gu ge yore la tene ti ge chen me pa che tang yenten tang demba 푸섬 초바제 뇽 주요르베스는 중주요레 드니티 준센데 칸데레스는 아란소 다센진 탐지 제센지 길라 데와르히베 님보 요요레 대단다 센진 술레이나야 키메바 요요레라 디처나 나란소 옌틴던 뎀바던 짠던 자와제 용기요레 용기 요레디 있나야 내가 다대 응한도 줄 맞봐 당아란 좀 걸어라 내게 요래
Following this comes the meditation on the mandala and on Guru Yoga. In general, what it is that we need is that we need to have happiness. We need to be happy, and we need to be free of suffering. We need to free ourselves from all of the faults, and we need to develop all of our qualities. And so you might wonder, can it happen this way? Can this arise within us, that we can be free of the faults and develop all the qualities? Yes, it can arise within us. We can free ourselves of the faults, and we can develop all the qualities. And the reason for that is that all sentient beings, without exception, have Buddha nature. We have the essence of the bliss gone one, Buddha nature, within ourselves. It actually is within ourselves, and it is within all sentient beings without any distinction. And so because it is there, we can all get rid of any faults that we might have. And we can all develop all of the qualities that we have. And so we can get rid of it. Now at this time, this Buddha nature is, at this time that we all are residing in samsara. We're all dwelling in samsara, but we have this Buddha nature within ourselves.
Tene dewarki bin himbote yepate ta nekap lobrjitme dripne ta ngaransu nyamong batang namto la so pe dripne tene dewarki bin himbuge yendente ngand churmatu par ngand churmatu pala ta tanda chenji cha tenzo rimji salgu yorala chenji cha te salwar sepe jote 다 가르치는 거란서 등엔생 감 되네 주니 지내로 대도네 되네 디게니 방자된서 방게요라라 방자된서 방와라 내가 증갈진 파치 살웨게 쳐도 되네 도지 sempre 감데시네 랭엠 바텐서 방 넘버 또 방엠 바텐서 헤웨게 쳐도 되네 도지 sempre 감데시 세구게요라 다 도지 sempre 감데시 발라 때네 되네 방자된서 짠지 차된서 헤 파치지 차된서 헤니 다 디긴 디그리베세나 되게 띠진디기요 말이라 디칸디기요 말이세나 다 디짠제 짠동 파치 텐서 헤니 다텔라 야 콤펠던도 저 조지 고기요라 옌팅지 차데 콤펠던도 고기요 옌팅지 차 콤펠던도 세발라 칸데 고기레세나 데네 게웨 소놈치 추데 싸고기요라 게와도 게와펠 고기요라 데네 소놈치 추데 펠베기 쳇도 데네 다데 당보 젠지 차데 헤웨기 쳇도 도지 sempre 감디세 바데 젠게도 파티 헤와다 딕바다 드바텐스 헤웨기 쳇도 도지 sempre 감디세 다스놈지 추벨베기 쳇도라 데네 맨드럼볼바데 고기요레
We do all have Buddha nature within us, but it is temporarily obscured by all of the, when we are here in samsara. It is temporarily obscured by all of the afflictions and by all of the bad thoughts that we have, and so we are not able to make it manifest right now. And so for that reason, we need to be able to to dispel all of these faults. We need to get rid of and abandon all of the faults that we have. And so we need to, and so what is the cause for doing that? The cause is to meditate upon the deep holding, or samadhi, to meditate upon deep holding. And then by doing that, we are able to, will be able to realize our Buddha nature. And so for this reason, we need to first abandon all of the faults. And in order to abandon all the faults, we do the meditation on Vajrasattva. Through that, we abandon our bad karma. We abandon all of the bad thoughts or the wrong thoughts that we used to have. And in doing this way, all of the faults that we have in our being, all the faults and obstacles that we have in our being can be abandoned. But is it enough just to abandon these faults? It is not quite just enough. And in addition to abandoning all the faults, we also need to develop all of our qualities. We need to make all of the qualities increase and expand. And so it is not just enough to abandon faults. We need to develop ourselves, develop the qualities. And the way that, and it is possible for us to increase our qualities. But the cause for increasing all of our qualities is to accumulate virtue. And when we accumulate virtue and increase our virtue, then the qualities will develop. And so for that reason, we first do the Vajrasattva meditation in order to dispel all of our faults. And then in order to increase all of our qualities and increase our merit, we do the meditation on the mandala.
Tene tateya gewegi chuteya pelwegi chetala kandi gogi yore sena jitanga onda sena ta ngaranzo luji jelom zangbo tene rangyin la pemba ngaki ta naji zangbo yin la minepa pensem ta pemba ta demba tene semji kumhung number takpa je gogi yore la ta te nyams lin dewegi cherto tene dangwa ta menga ka nongda chur dune tenyongde parur to chimba tausi ta jimbe parur to chimba ta churimji parur to chimba ta zebe parur to chimba ta zenduji parur to chimba ta somethingji parur to chimba ta hiraji parur to chimba te parur to chimba tauga go ne ta sonam sope ka tap te jitanga ta tipa chimbu ka ndoda tene tenchu tamchi nani te taba tenyo ware.
In order to increase our virtue, in general, what we need to do is we need to behave well. We need to behave kindly. We need to conduct ourselves kindly with our bodies and do things that are good with our bodies. We need to have good, kind speech. We need to speak well and nicely to other people. And we also need to keep a kind, pure motivation within our minds. We need to have an utterly pure motivation within our minds. In order to do this, there is a teaching that condenses all of the oral instructions and spiritual advice from all of these sutras and condenses them into what are called the 6 transcendences, or the 6 paramitas. The 6 transcendences are transcendent generosity, transcendent discipline, transcendent patience, transcendent diligence, transcendent concentration, and transcendent full knowing, or transcendent prajna. And so these are the 6 transcendences, and the practices of the 6 transcendences are taken from all of the sutras and all of the treatises, and condensed and taught in this way.
Tene ta telaya ta jerdo parudu chimba tuga na ne ya tene tangbo jimba zor tempa la tene jimba zor tempa imbe cherna jimba te la tene tanda tongwa tang shintu tongwa tang jakawe tongwa se tene somsong yo are la tene di na ne ta jitang ge tongwa se na ta ngaran so ge kan semjin la yin la pembe ge se ku noro longje men la so pa kande ji jimba tang na ya te la tongwa se ge yo ta ngaran so kan tu tu jimba tang wa te tene tongwa mo shindu tongwa ga on de se na shindu tongwa to jakawe ge tongwa ga on de se na tene lu jimba tangwa ta la song yo re te yin na ya ta jongchu sembe jepa lan ju ba ga ma ne song na tene ni ji samba ma da ba lu de jimbar ma za te tene ngarang pe ni ji hyu chimbo ji za ni chir ma du ni ji tembo ji ma jung ga par la lu de ji ni jimba tang yen ga ma re tene te la tende jimba tang yen ga ma re tende song re la ta wona kandi si jimba tang ga re se na je nen da dong yin ta da ten chin ru pi jur tong mo se tene ta chen da dong je wa chima la so ba la rang yin kang ga la pen ba ja chen bo ji to be ki che la tene lu de cha chang jimba tang go re tende song ne tene jimba tang go chol tene u su ji ni jimba ma tong wa tene ta tan da lu di cha sang sen jing ge tang de ta pe ji se ge yin sam ban da wo ji go ne jimba tang go re so.
Among the six transcendences, the first one that is taught is generosity, and this is really the primary of these. It is primarily generosity that is taught. And generosity has three different types. These three types of generosity are called giving, extreme giving, and the third is giving that is difficult giving. So giving, extreme giving, and difficult giving. And so the first of these, giving, is to give food or wealth or possessions or whatever it is that we have to other sentient beings. And for this we give whatever we are able to give. It is giving the things that we are able to give. And so we just do what we can, and that is called giving. The second type of generosity, extreme giving, and the third type of generosity, the difficult giving, are in general the generosity of parts of the body, generosity of one's body. Now, as it is said in the Way of the Bodhisattva by Shantideva, as it is said in the Way of the Bodhisattva, if you do not have a pure compassion, then do not practice the generosity of the body. And so if you do not have a strong and stable sense of compassion, then you should not just give parts of your body. This is rather, you should, that sort of giving is something that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can do. But it is not something that we ordinary beings can really do ourselves. And so we should not try to attempt such generosity as that. Rather, what it says we should do is that for the benefit of this life and future lives, we should use our body for the benefit of other sentient beings. And so rather than giving pieces of our body a part at a time, what we should do is use our entire bodies for the benefit of other sentient beings. And if we do this for this life, and do this for, promise to do it for future lives, then it is something that will be of great benefit for ourselves and for other sentient beings in this life and in the future. And so in this way we have the generosity with our bodies.
Tene ta tejendo tanda chitang jimba tangwa teya tene ton san jenju gana ni sana ton san topa la jimbe paru tsimbar he se tene jimba te ngus ton wa te kal chegere la te le chong zo ton san te ngarang jimba tang yin sambe ge san te shu chimbo che ye na tene te tela tene ta maungpa la pento jachimbo nyuan jowa yinbe che na chitang tong sen te kal chegere re sungwa re la junsin teacher na ta chaka we tongwa ko on tse na teni tanda mari mesel ga nang do song yo mari ma to teni ngere jansu ga nang do song na mandal bol kapsula teni kuslai chusu se kusla se na ta tumi gi che jin se du te la teni che tang ne teni rang lu di chasang teni kapalai nong to juk ne teni di la thapa yeba tang thakpa yemba tang kangba yeba tang kangba yemba tenzo ki ne teni di rimji dutsin rapo je la jor ne teni ya lama yedam chuchung pao kandro teni dengi lencha reik suchurwa tamche la teni pa ki pa tang ni jimba tang we chul ta tende ki mikpa song yo ara la tende ki mikpa tang na ya ta ti sonam chi chu ja chen po zo pa yin bi cher na tanda ngena jang chu gon do mandra che kap sala chi tang ke teni te na ti mikpa ti tang we chul song yo ara.
It is also said in the way of the Bodhisattva that the perfection of generosity is the intention to give. And so it is the mind of giving that is most important. Of course, it is important to give things and give, but even more important than that is is to have the intention, to have the mind to give. And this is a strong mind that wishes to give. And so this sort of intention, this sort of mind of giving is even more beneficial and will bring us great results in the future. In terms of the difficult giving, the giving of one's own body, this is not directly addressed in the text eliminating the darkness of ignorance. But it is talked about in the ocean of the true meaning, or the ocean of definitive meaning, where it says that we should do the or the severance cutting meditation as an offering to the assembly of kusulas, or the kusula means like the Dharma protectors and other beings like that. And so in this meditation, we imagine that we take off our skull and that we put our bodies in the skull, and we cut off our right shoulder and put it in, and we cut off our left shoulder and put it in, and we cut off our legs and put them in, our right leg, and we put that in, and our left leg, and we put it in, and we put all of our entire body in this, and then we let it boil, and it transforms into nectar, or amrita. So it transforms into this nectar, and then we offer that to all of the lamas, all of the yidam deities, all of the Dharma protectors, and all of these other sentient beings. We make this offering of our own body. And so in this way, we are able to accumulate a vast amount of merit by visualizing giving ourselves this body. And so this is what is explained about doing the meditation on severance, or Chö, in the ocean of true meaning.
Tene ta te tabu kapkala nyamni sena ya pe tene ta jimba jachim butangwa tene ta ngaran soge jitang ge ta hindu jibi ge longje de jitang ge juno longje la jiba yore de ina yo jishu de rang lu le jiba je hiro yo mare la tene lu de jimba tang ge mikpa se lu de yin la pembe ge che de jimba tang yin somna tene de sonam je chu ja chen bo zo ba yin be che na tende ge kap ka la nyam le ma on ba la na thut na be pen to chen bo yo re la tene tanda kap sa pa pa la kare re se na mendal bo re mendal bo kap sa la ta rang sonam je chu zo be che de la tene jimba tang wa re jimba tangwa tele jimba tangwa ki yul namba 2 yore la ya kencho la chepa to mangen la jimba Tene te yang jitang ke tayi kong tu hyupa yendo jimba te ngupo jimba tangwa te kalchewa ma yinpa jimba te rang sen chi kumhong te kalche ge yore la nguni tang yin sampe kumhong te kalche ge yore tene junsen teacher na tanda tene ya kenchu lan chepa pulwa te yang ta kenchu sum tang zawa sum te lan chepa pulge yore la chepa pulwa te tenzo tene tsen di gen denyan la cha yin je ne ta tenzo lan depe long je tenzo gu ne chepa pulgo ge yore se na mare wana kangi cherdul pulge yore se ta ngarangi tepa tong mugu number tapa tong tempe go ne tene ta tanda yep ngupo te pulge yin samba tabi ge kulhong ge go ne chepa pul na ta ti sonam je tsu zogi yore.
And so sometimes if you do this meditation, it will help you have vast amounts of generosity. Doing this meditation will bring you great generosity, and so will be very beneficial for you to do it. In general, among all of the things that we have, our food, our possessions, our wealth, anything that we might have, what is really the greatest generosity is to give our bodies. And so if you imagine that you are giving, that in order to bring benefit for others, you are giving your body, then this is something that will bring you great benefits. And so for this reason, if you can do this meditation, the practice of Chö in the future, then it is something that will be extremely beneficial. Now at this point, what we are talking about is the mandala offering. And when we are making offerings, in general, there are two different ways that we can make offerings. There are two different objects to whom we can make the offerings. And so these are to make offerings up to the jewels, or we can be generous down to the impoverished. And so here we are making offerings up to the jewels. And so we visualize that we are giving all of our possessions, everything that we have, all of our wealth, whatever things we might have, we are offering up to the three jewels. And what here is important is not that we're actually giving things, but rather what is important is that we have the mind that wishes to give, the mind of wanting to give and wanting to help. And so for this reason, we visualize that we are making these offerings. When we make these offerings up to the jewels, we are making the offerings to the three jewels, and we are making offerings to the three roots. And so we visualize that we give all our possessions, all our wealth, all our food, everything that we have, we visualize giving up to these, not because they need it, not because the three jewels or the three roots need our possessions. Rather, we visualize ourselves being generous in this way in order to develop our own faith and devotion. We do this as a way to increase our own faith and devotion. And so we imagine that we are giving anything that we have, anything that there is. We visualize giving up to or offering up to the three jewels. And in this way, we complete a vast accumulation of merit.
Tene ta te yang ta rangi senam chi tsuzo pichada la tene tige chepa pul wa te yang ta jen chepa jia chenpo ki mi pa se du te la ta njitin je kam dana yepe ngupo tamchi rang la wang na ya rang la ma wang na ya rang lo yi long ne tene jawiyul tamchi la pul ki yin samba taba je chepa te tige 때니 다 랑 차상지 프로와인 삼바인 비쳤나 디디선음 지수 자침부 조기 와라 배는 보도도 제니 좀 예라서 봐 마인바 니딘지 컨지 반줄롱지 탐지 나랑 그 로이롱네 프로와인 삼나 다 데이터북 선음 지수 조바인 비쳤나 맨런 블로와티 배 인도 만다와가 디니선음 침부 다 개와 자침부 조기 와래.
And so it is for this purpose of completing the accumulation of merit that we make these offerings And when we are doing the mandala offering, the offering that we are making is especially vast. It is a great offering of all of the things that there are in this world realm. Whether these things are our own, or whether they are someone else's or not our own, we take them with our mind and we offer them up to the three jewels. And so, because we are offering everything that there is, all the objects, anything that there might be in the world, we are offering up to the jewels. And because of that, we accumulate a vast amount of merit. We are not offering just one or two or three or four different objects, but rather we are taking everything that there is and then offering it up to the jewels. And so for that reason, the offering of the mandala is a way of accumulating merit that is superior. It is not like any other way of accumulating merit. It is really the best way to complete the accumulation of merit.
Tene ta telaya tanda ngaranso mental blue capsula drupe mental tan chepe mental ni segi warela drupe mental sena tan ngaranso mental pulu dal ne lu longje jitin je khanje panjo longje te pulu gi yulia tene jachunchu main pa tene chila je zawa lama ngudu je zawa yeram tene je zawa chuchung tan je ta tene sanje ta chue ta genden te kenjo Rinpoche number somte jawyul tru yongso zopate ta mental je chambo nga kepe ge nongdo meini ta ting mikwi ting se de mental je ya ne ti den do tianam yo sambatende somne ta jawyul tenzo chepa polo ge yul do gamba je ta tene chepa mental se du tene ngaranzo ge mental de tal jitang ge mikwi ge ting re la tene mental ti den do chambo ge ni ndroi chambo ge ni tene de la susu ge chambo ge pa te ta ngarang ge uni phugi yin sombe ge mikpa si pe ge ting da bo je la ti chambo de ge ni ya phugi yo re la tene ti ge capsula ten jitin je khang je panjo long je tham ji ta ti na ni mixal de jitin je khang la ye pe panjo long je phusam choba chechu dong denpa chebar dong papa ta tenzo pulki yin samba se gu yo re.
When we are making the mandala offerings, there are two different types of mandalas that we make, that we offer. And so these are called the mandala of accomplishment and the mandala of offering. And so the first one, the mandala of accomplishment, is the object to whom we are making this offering. And it is a vast object. It is not one that is limited. Rather, we visualize that on this mandala in front of us, there is the root of blessings, the Lama, the root of accomplishment, the Yidam deity, the root of activity, the Dharma practitioners, over the three roots. We also visualize that there are the three jewels of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and so the three precious jewels. And so we visualize that in the 5 different heaps that are on the mandala of accomplishment that is in front of us are all of these 6, the 3 jewels and the 3 roots. So all the lamas, all the yidams, all the Buddhas, all of these in a vast gathering we visualize on this mandala that is in front of us. And we visualize this as what we are making our offering to, the object to whom we are making the offering. And then we make the offering of the mandala of offering. And on the mandala of offering, we place the heaps of what we are offering. And we use this as a support for the visualization. So we make little heaps on of what we are actually offering on the mandala as a support for the visualization of making offerings of all of the wealth that there is in the world, all of the things, everything that there might be in the world. And we don't just visualize that we are giving all of the things that are in the world, but we visualize that we are giving all of the best, everything that is excellent, everything that is wonderful, everything that is everything that is the superior of all the different possible offerings that we could give. We visualize that we are giving that, and so we make this visualization on the support of the mandala of offering.
Tene ta teacher na tene ngarang te sonam so pala tene sonam ji tsu pala tene ngara che tingen gom na ya shaja chempo gom na ya gom la parchi me pata tene tinchin zamba ta tene tela sarcha tingen la che tingyen zan la jem he pa yen tim pelwa ta tinde ge gu pa yore la tin teacher na mental pul ge yore ta tingyen ro song ge na ni hun ro ye ge na ni sum ba te mental pulwa.
And so in this way, or for that reason, when we make these offerings, when we make this mandala offering, we accumulate merit. And then we complete the accumulation of merit. And having completed the accumulation of merit, then we are able to develop deep holding, or samadhi. And we are able to meditate upon deep holding. We are able to meditate upon the Great Seal. All of the obstacles and difficulties that we might have are dispelled, and all of the favorable conditions that we need are gathered and accumulated around us so that we are able to develop our meditation. We are able to free ourselves of all our faults, and we are able to develop all of our qualities. And so these are the benefits of doing this offering of the mandala practice. And so here, among the 4 different types of the particular, or you could also say special preliminaries, among these, the third of the 4 special preliminary practices is this one, the practice of the mandala.
Tene ta tige gone ta mental pulwa te sumba ta tene yiba te ta lamen nanjure la lamen nanjur gom gu bi junsin te khande re se na chitang ta ngaran so lama la ta khasin tamju ka so la ya hyupa yendo tene cherdo chapsan ro yur tru ti na ne ta rang la ngus chu ge nupan ra bo te ta tambi chu hyo dhamma hyo ngarangi nyamsu lang ne tenen drebati njonggu gi yore la tin drebati njongwa te kani njonggu gi yore se na lama la teni njonggu gi yore lami ge song lami ge dhamma na dhamma te ngarangi nyamsu lang lang du te la ta ten drebati njonggu gi yore tin drebati njong manjong te ta dhamma te la ichi yapo te ta ti dhamma te ngani yapo yin dhamma te lan dreven jung re dhamma te kal chembo re sambachi hyo na tini ta tela teni ngarang ki nyamlin tar sambachi yung to re dhamma te te sam te pa ta ichi me na tini ti nyamlin ten tar sambachi yung to yo ma re teacher na cherdo dhamma te la ichi yo gu yo re la dhamma te la ichi yo pa te lama te la ichi yo gu yo re la te lama ti dhamma te no in te lama ti dhamma te pe kal chembo yin samni ta ichi che we ki cheto ichi che par chenta te pa to mugu che par chenchi che na tini te la te ni nyam to per ge yo re
The fourth of the special preliminary practices is the practice of Guru Yoga. And the reason that we need to meditate upon Guru Yoga is, as we touched upon yesterday in the discussion of the going for refuge, is that we need, in general, when we go for refuge, they are we go for refuge in the 6 different objects of refuge, the 3 jewels and the 3 roots. But what we really need is to receive the power. We need to receive the capability and the ability to practice the Dharma. And so for that, we need to ask for the oral instructions. We need to ask for the spiritual advice. We need to practice these. And we need to, having practiced them, then we will develop the result. We will develop the realization that comes along from them. And so the place that, or the person from whom we can receive all of these oral instructions and spiritual advice is the Lama. It is the Lama, it is from the Lama that we receive these instructions. And it is important when we receive the instructions that we have confidence in the instructions. Because if we think, oh, maybe it'll work or maybe it won't work, you might think. But if you think maybe it'll work, if you have some sort of confidence in it, then when you have confidence in the instructions, then you are able to practice them, and you are able to develop the qualities through your practice. And so then you are able to go to the end of the result. And this is what happens if you have confidence in the instructions that you receive. If you do not have such confidence in the instructions, then you will not really be able to benefit from them. You will not be able to meditate upon them. You will not be able to practice them, and you will not be able to practice them. So it is very important that we have confidence and that we have faith in the instructions that we have. And we receive these instructions from the Lama. And so for that reason, it is very important that we have confidence in the Lama. If we have confidence in the Lama, then we are able to receive the instructions. We are able to practice the instructions. And on the basis of these instructions, then we are able to develop our experience and realization.
Tene ta ti lama tela ya tsawe lama tela ya tene ichi chebe ke chedula jip lama te kalchewa jip lama te tene sanje zop sonji jamden de ne rimba yendla jipa la ta ti jipa manyampa ti senap ke jipa te manyampa yu ya pala tene te tsawe lama to jip lama tamchi la solwa tap ne lama nanjur nyamni chege yo la tene tela solwa tap na nguni ge ichi che ju ya pa ichi che ni dreven jun ju ya pa yimbe chena tene ngaran so chaja chimpo gamba ta tingen se gamba hine to hwang tong kan gam na ya tene lama nanjur te la tepa to mu ya po chi tup na tene ti pe pento chimpo yong yo.
So this Lama that we're talking about is primarily our root Lama. But in order to have faith in our root Lama, we also need the lineage Lamas. So the lineage Lamas are the lineage of Lamas for whom the oral instructions have been passed down from the time of the Buddha until now. And so if we know that we can have confidence in the lineage Lamas, then we are able to receive the blessings. All of the blessings have been passed down through all of the lineage Lamas to our root Lamas. And so for this reason, we need to have confidence in, or we need to generate confidence in the root and in the lineage Lamas. And if we can do so, then we will be able to attain the results. And so for that reason, we do the meditation on Guru Yoga in order to generate faith and devotion in the root and lineage Lamas. And if we can attain such faith and devotion in the root and lineage Lamas, then it is something that will be extremely beneficial.
Tene ta te ya rangi gam teni misal ke tepa tamu guji ne solwa tapna senam jugi yore la teni te yang jibel lama ga ondu sena ngaran so ga tongbo jiba tangbo te dojin chung chi yoge yore dojin chung kundu ngombo doje tong turban zanba je mandra wanda bo je yoge yore la te je suina te kaina sambanda bo yungre teni te dojin chung te jitang ga sanji jomdin de re sanji jomdin de la jitang ga go song to ta to yi hi jingwo teni go te la ya chu go long go tru go si som yor teni tanda ngarang so jagar doji de la ko chong tang bi chu jing ko lo ko ro ni nyang yin len de ba de teni chu go tru ko re chu go tru ko si ngarang so chu sung be ke che do chen ba 다 될 또 이 희증오 요래 또이 희증오 데 고데 냥일린 데게레 또이 희증오 데 냥일린 데게 요 말해라 될 추구 도진 총세 그래 추구 도진 총데 되네 아야 zuti nambala ten yo te lonku do진 총세게 요래 lonku do진 총데 다 된다 라마 지신 담바타 되네 토토 제버진다 되네 장주 선바 쳔보 된주긴 잘게 요래라 되네 잘와 나기 텔로피 되네 산지 좀 된데지 롱지 조부거 된잘 디자네 당와생 되네 디게 자네 슬랍게 얘기는 보이는 거잖아 도진총 텔로 나로 마르바 멜라 다 되네 말 지플라마테 난게 요래
And so for this reason, we ourselves meditate upon Guru Yoga in order to generate faith and devotion. And when we generate faith and devotion, then we are able to receive the blessings. And so we receive the blessings from the root and the lineage lamas. Well, what are these lineage lamas? The lineage lamas start with the great Vajradhara. And Vajradhara is blue in color. He is holding a vajra and a bell, and he is sitting in the lotus posture, the full vajra posture. And so you might wonder, well, who is Vajradhara, or what is Vajradhara? And so if you wonder that, then what he is he's, in general, we have the body, we have the Buddha has the body, speech, and mind. There is the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. And the mind of the Buddha is the essence of the mind and wisdom of the Buddha. And then in terms of the body, there are the three different bodies, the Dharma body, Dharma body, enjoyment body, and emanation body. And so we have these three different bodies of the Buddha. Now, when the Lord Buddha attained complete and perfect enlightenment at the perfect place of Bodh Gaya, and then turned the wheel of the Dharma, that Buddha that appeared there is what we call the supreme emanation body. And so that supreme emanation body also has the essence of the wisdom mind of the Buddha. Now, when that supreme emanation body passed into nirvana, it was the body that passed into nirvana, but it was not the wisdom, the essence of the wisdom mind of the Buddha did not pass into nirvana. And the essence of that wisdom mind of the Buddha is the Dharma body. And this Dharma body is Vajradhara. And so he is the essence of the wisdom mind of the Buddha. That is the Dharma body that is Vajradhara. And when this Vajradhara takes a bodily form, then he takes the form of the enjoyment body. And this enjoyment body, or in Sanskrit, Sambhogakaya, this enjoyment body is the body that the great practitioners, the Mahasiddhas and the great meditators, the other Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas can all meet. And so the great Mahasiddha Tilopa actually met Vajradhara, and he received instructions from Vajradhara. And then he passed those down in what is called the close lineage from Vajradhara to Tilopa, to Naropa, and Marpa, and Milarepa. And so this is the close lineage. These are the lineage lamas that we pray to.
Tene tatela teta so tapache ta tene rang chaw lama tapache ya chaw lama te ta yentim ta demba chaw lama sangji ta dawa depa ta mugi gu re ta ti so wa tab gu yo re sung yo re la tene tel ngaran so nyomnyong go on de siena tene chaw lama te la kap kala chen Kapkala Masibag, Tata Lamatella, Jan here by your sick, Jan here by your la, Jan your re la, Tinijan, you do tell Jan here pala, met some cook rebe, Sena, met some. Yentin mepala, yet some cook rebe, some. Tini yentin mepala, yet some bata. Tinijan here pala, met some na, Tinichetam ondi in the body. Timondi, Tiki Kayan Pangamare. Taona. Lama la kara jan yepati jan yepare yente mepare tel chepar yo mare te koran jiti meingoni re la tang aran soge tene sawe lama te solwata kanki chedula sege yo re sena jiti meingoni solwata ge yo mare tambe chu jingoni solwata ge yo tambe chu te tanda manyampa ngaranso tambe chu te nyangso lona tene thartu kundebu zangbo topju yepa tambe chu chepar jente rang tsawe lame ge nangi yo re la tene tambe chu tige tene tene ti solwata pe ge yor tambe chu ge sinap togu ge yo re tambe chu te ngarang la nangi yo re te sanji ji kare nawa te ngarang la nangi yo re la tene teacher na tene sanji tang dawa tsawe lama te sanji tang dawa sanji le lapa tene te jen mepala jen yepala me samba mare yenten mepala ye samba mare tanguni demba denjong tene tang ngarang la chue nangi yo re chue te china jeba jente te nawa te la tene tene ngarang ke tsawe lama te sanji tang dawa yin samba tene chegi yo re la te tabu go ne solwa tap na tene digi yo re.
And so in this way, we make these prayers to the lineage lamas, and we pray to the root lama. And when we pray to the root lama, we see the root lama as being someone who is like a Buddha. So we see the root lama as being like a Buddha. But actually, in our own experience, sometimes it is possible that the root lama might have some sort of a fault, that there might be some sort of problem about the root lama. It is possible that there really might be some fault. And so you might think that this is a case where this is someone who has a fault and you pray to them as if there weren't any faults. Or you might think that this is someone who doesn't have any qualities and that you're praying to them as if they do have qualities. But if you were to do that, if you were to pretend that someone who did have faults did not, or that someone who didn't have any qualities did, and you were to pray to them in that way, that would just be blind faith. That would not be helpful at all. We do not need to pray to them as if their faults that as if they did not have the faults that they do, or as if they did have qualities that they do not. Rather, it is possible that our lamas may have faults, and it is possible that they might not have qualities. And the reason for that is that they are just humans in this world. They are humans in this world, and humans in this world have faults, and humans in this world lack qualities. This is the way it is. And so for this reason, because our lamas are humans in this world, it is possible that they will have faults and that they might not have the qualities. But that is not the reason that we pray to our lamas. We do not pray to them because of their own personal faults or qualities. Rather, we pray to them because it is from our lamas that we can receive the Dharma. It is from the Lama that we receive the Dharma, and so therefore we can pray to them because it is the Dharma that they can give us. The Dharma that they can give us is the true Dharma. It will be beneficial. And it is the root Lama who gives us that Dharma, who teaches the Dharma to us. We receive the instructions from our root Lama. He gives them to us. And so it doesn't, whether or not the Lama has qualities or not, or whether or not they have faults or not, the Lama is someone from whom we can receive this Dharma. And so, therefore, they have received the Dharma, and therefore we can receive it from them. For that reason, they are like a Buddha. For that reason, they are actually superior to the Buddha. And so this is the way it is. The Lama may be someone who has faults or who may lack qualities, but in the truth, it is the Dharma that they have, and they can give us the Dharma. And so for that reason, we pray to them to receive the Dharma to them. And so if you pray to them in this way, then it is okay.
Tene ta teacher na tene lamen nanjur gom lama la solwa tapna tepa to mugu je na tene tela tene tambichu nyamne si topa la tene ndrebun jong topa tene te yungi ware la junsin teacher na tene tanda ngundru ye na ne yiba te lamen nanjur gom bare la ta te tardu tangbo japsun rowa semjeba niba doje sembe gomde sumba mendal borwa yiba lamen nanjur la ta te tangaranso shoja chimbe topa jula jewe ge tap chebar ton papa ta tanda chu ngui ye le jong ngundru sapse tene jetang ngui nyamlen te pe tangaranso semla tingense chebar jinjewa tene nyamon pa pongwa tap chebar ton papa re de yinna te long la ando mundo te ngndo la ro le ge yore la tin teacher na ngndo te kalchimbo na pe ya bo yore.
And so when we meditate upon Guru Yoga in this way, then it helps us generate faith and devotion. And when we generate faith in devotion, then we are able to do our practice. And when we are able to do our practice, then we are able to attain the results of the practice. And so for this reason, it is very important to do this meditation on Guru Yoga. And so Guru Yoga here is the fourth of these four preliminary practices. And so first we had the going for refuge and generating the mind of enlightenment. Second, we had the meditation on Vajrasattva. Third, the mandala. And fourth, this Guru Yoga practice. And these four special preliminaries are an especially good method for generating the Great Seal meditation, for generating the superior deep holding, and for generating this meditation on the Great Seal. Now, as it is sometimes said, the preliminaries are more profound than the actual practice, it is often said. And so what this means is that, of course, what we need is to develop our qualities and to abandon all of the afflictions, abandon all of the obstacles and the faults. And what is the superior method for doing all of this is the actual practice of the Great Seal. This is the best method for abandoning all our faults, abandoning all the afflictions, and for developing our qualities. But even though it is the superior method, it is dependent upon the preliminary practices. And so for this reason, because it is dependent upon the preliminary practices, these preliminary practices are especially important.
Tene ta tering hado chutin te sam sena te to anda bota te sam do yo na to na ro che.
And so we will leave our Dharma session here for this morning. Now, if anyone has any questions or any doubts, please ask. And I think there's a microphone set up over here. If you could get in line at the microphone, that usually goes smooth.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Could you teach us how to have a pure perception regarding shamatha when we practice Guru Yoga Sadhana? Because it appears that he's generated a lot of troubles for our Kagyu lineage.
Lame nangre gombe kapsa deva ane shamatha deva ane tabe nama kande kiegares kaine sena ane ngatsogi namala sinde kongla tene nyupta mampo chungere strabo.
Tene 다치탕 콘라 바치나고 텐데 좋아해봐 단다 콘도 휴바견도래 대 공사 공원에 말해 대 소수 추공원에 대 추공원에 쏠왔답나 아 대니 인데그라 대니 공사 공원에 솔리나야 짠 대체 용그래 디처나 쏠왔다고요 말해.
As she has described, there are these difficulties that have arisen because of the Karmapa. That is true that there are these difficulties that have arisen, but when we do Guru Yoga, we are not praying to the individual. It is not the individual to whom we are praying, but it is rather for the Dharma that we are praying. And so we are praying for the Dharma, as Rinpoche has just explained. And so for this reason, if you just pray in terms of the Dharma, then it should be okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Yesterday you spoke of, again, of prayer, and you talked about theistic, non-theistic, looking inside yourself as opposed to looking outside. And then you also, it's more the same, you're praying to the lineage lamas and then to the Dharma protectors and the Vajrasattva for purification. And it seems the inside thing I need. If you could help me understand more.
Causal Rinpoche so tabegi kola tene chirogi fala so taba mayam ane rangi entama tene ane so tabeyores. Ina deje so ane Rinpoche ane chirogi yodrabo tene sanje ta ane chekyong lama yirani tene so taba tabores tene de gabo drabo.
대 간데레세나 지당게 치료를 쏘았다고 요래 치료를 쏘았다고 요래 때 있나야 되네 랑 대지던 덤바데 콘넘바츠 라발라 예반다고 제다 다 콘넘바츠 특니나 나랑 대지던 덤바도 특 많이나 동할던 덤바다고 마인바 당하랑 내가 그 조세바다고 저 베낭라서 로보제 옛나 로보티게 당가 드링테지 단디그면도 될 로바지지세나 데스 로바지 그래라 드는 은혜가 자와티 수도 그래서나 나랑 그도 그래 티처나 내가 그 온드세나 레전드 데두 데 레전드라 로레게 요레라 타르투고 온드세나 산지지 콤폰테 드는 랑게 데워르히 비님보든 안드 줄발라 로레게 요레 마토 산지지 나야 요반다고 말했대 이나요 temba lamru ga tsuji japsundro temba ti sanji chomdin di chi lam tenkin yen sane hakwa ta tene tambe chue de ngarang lam yen sambata genden de lam du tu yen sambo go ne japsundro ki sorwata bi yore.
It does appear that they are that they're external, that we're praying to someone external. Of course, it is like that, but this is. But also, it's really the case that these qualities arise from ourselves. It is not as if all of the happiness and joy is something that they have in their hands, and that if we please them, they are going to be able to give it to us. It is not like that at all. They do not have. They are not holding it in their hand and cannot give us happiness. Rather, that happiness is something that is within ourselves. But what we can do is we pray to them as if they are friends or companions who are going to help us. And so it is like we sometimes say to a friend, I'm having a little bit of a trouble here, can you help me? And so then they can help us. But of course, does it really come down to? It comes down to ourselves doing it for ourselves. In terms of temporary things, it comes down to our karma, cause, and effect. That brings us the temporary happiness. And in terms of the ultimate attainment of the state of Buddhahood, that is dependent upon our own practice. And so these are dependent upon ourselves. But we go for refuge in the jewels and the roots as the teacher, path, and companions. And so we take the Buddha as the teacher, and we take the Dharma as the path, and we take the Sangha as our companions, and in that way we go for refuge.
Rinpoche, my question is about Vajrasattva meditation. I can visualize Vajrasattva okay, but I'm having trouble connecting with Vajrasattva as a yidam. For example, with other yidams, like Guru Rinpoche or Chenrezig, Guru Rinpoche has a biography. I can read that biography. He has a story. He has profound instructions I can read. So that helps me to relate to Guru Rinpoche when I'm doing Kunjok Chido. Same thing with Chenrezig. There's a story about Chenrezig. But with Vajrasattva, he seems very abstract. And he just kind of dispensing Amrita, and that's about it. You know? How can I relate to Vajrasattva in a stronger way like I do to the other Yidam deities?
De la Dorje Sempa Gompe Kasu, Dorje Sempa de la Dorje Kali Kaboyres.
Depakiel.
Dorje, Dorje. Kaisana, Pena Yidam Gihla Shinda Gomna, Pena Guru Rinpoche, Yana Guru Rinpoche, Yana Chenrezig Traboyina. Tene Guru Rinpoche ki Namtar Yores, de Loy Yores, Guru Menga Yores, de Shue Tantai Yores, Jai Yores. Then the Dela Tene and Deba the Kieres, the Dela Tene Jawa Chik Jaw, Kigures, the Grana Shingi, Chenrezig La, and Loji Yores, Namtar Yores, the Jay Yores, the Dela Tene and Dela Jawa Cheres. In a Dorje Sembala. Dedan Mindaores, guys, and Dorje Sembala de Namtar Java Yomare, Dorje Kalakabores, Dorje Sembegi, and a Duzinaya Mato, Tene Shenda, and Shenda Sheda Chehumares.
Dorje Sembate, Tene Tanda Chitang. Tati tanda ngaransi solwa tapa nangin Guru Rinpoche Rinpoche na gongsa ka namba shenpari. Changchu senpa Chenrezig ya ta gongsa ka namba Rinpoche, Shongchu senpa namba la tenpa yinpeche na Loju Rinpoche ta namtar Rinpoche yuware. Yuware te yina Dorje senpa te teni longko tong chuku ka namba mato yuwa marila. Te kasi ngarangi hyubare karire se na Dorje senpa te ngarang le tate peke lama yinpa. Tene ngarang tanda rasem ta ngarang luge nangto tene yidam jala yingo yupa. Perna hitro tamba reja dabo. Hitro tamba reja te mada pe kapsala tene rang sem ta semjung ka namba la yepa. Sem ta semjung ka namba la yepa te tape kapsala Tapa yidam jala yonto se na tene hitro tamba reja ka namba la yepa. Tene te ngaransu lusem trali yon kapsala pardu neka se hyara onju yepa. Tene te ngo te Dorje sempa se de tene Dorje se na njurwa me panda poche ta. Tene sempa se na tene te nintop tong tempa ta te ngaransu dewar kibi nimbu ngo wanda poche yinpe se na Dorje sempa re la. Dorje sempa ngo te hitro tamba re jaga ngo yinpe se na. Te ngarang senji nelu ta. Ta tanda hippie on the Siena, 10 number hippa 2 jeda, dozing at Zati Yons top number the doji simple number la, that the Jerome Pachuji engineer de yo arella, Tinitela, Tingarala yepa in Bichena, te gomni, tati number the gomni, solo tap na, Tiniti arang digata driva down, nubata, demba in Bicherna, Tiniti, Naranle tate pick lama impa, Narang ngonda with impa la, gongi ore.
When we meditate upon Vajrasattva, it is not like meditating on Guru Rinpoche or meditating upon Chenrezig, because Guru Rinpoche is an individual. And because he's an individual, he has his biography, his life, his teachings, and so forth. And the same with Chenrezig. Chenrezig is, or Avalokiteshvara, is an individual whom we can pray to. And so these are individuals who have their own stories and their own things. But Vajrasattva is not like that. Vajrasattva actually is only exists as the enjoyment body, or Sambhogakaya, or the Dharma body, Dharmakaya. And so he exists only in those forms and is not someone that we can meet directly. But he actually is not separate from ourselves. Vajrasattva is not separate from ourselves. Rather, he is like the essence of ourselves. He is like the essence of our bodies and minds. And the reason is, as Rinpoche explained yesterday, Vajrasattva is the essence of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. And so there are these 100 peaceful and wrathful deities that, as Rinpoche described, reside within our heart and our brains. And these are in the impure aspect. They are our mind and the mental factors that we have. So they appear as the mind and mental factors that are in our hearts or in our brains. And in their pure aspect, they are they're the Yidam deities of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. And so at the time that we die, and our bodies and our minds are separated, then they appear to us in the bardo, in that essence, as the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. And the essence of all of these, is Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva is the essence of all of these 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. He's like the essence of our bodies and speech and mind. And so, as the essence, when we say Vajrasattva, what we mean is, by Vajra, is that he is unchanging, stable and unchanging. And what we mean by saying Sattva is that he's like a hero. He's a courage. He's got a lot of courage and helpful. And so he is the essence of this, the essence of these 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, and therefore also the essence of our minds and our bodies. And so for that reason, we can pray to him, and we can accumulate a lot of merit by praying to them. And so the reason we can do this is because this essence of Vajrasattva is something that exists in the Dharma expanse, in the what is it in Sanskrit, the Dharma Dhatu, that exists in the Dharma expanse, that actually is there. It is like the nature of the Dharma expanse, and it is something that we have within ourselves. It is not something that is separate from ourselves, the Dharma expanse. And so the essence of Vajrasattva, when we pray to Vajrasattva, we are praying to something that is not separate from ourselves. We are praying to our own essence.
Tene tatanda doji sembe tukala, doji sembe te hito tambari jag ngoi mbechena, doji sembe tukala yigi java gam. Tene yigi java te hito tambari jag ngoi mbechena, tene te la tate dutch papa mi pasegi yorela, dutch ndravoti ngarang digdip jong nupate ta tenzol yorela, te ngarang solo papa la tene ngarang solo digpata driva tenzo, tene jang mi pasegi yore.
when we meditate on Vajrasattva, the essence, within Vajrasattva there is the 100-syllable mantra at the heart. And so Vajrasattva is the essence of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. And then the essence of these are the 100-syllable mantras. The 100 syllables of the mantra are the essence of these. And so these are the essence of the peaceful and wrathful deities. And when we meditate upon Vajrasattva, then from this there is nectar, or dutsi, nectar flows from this. And this nectar has the power to be able to purify us of our misdeeds and our obscurations. This power, it has this power because it is the essence of it, it is the pure essence of it that comes down into us. And the essence of these peaceful 100 and wrathful deities is within ourselves. It is something that we have. And so because it is within ourselves, it has this power to be able to purify our misdeeds and obscurations.
Rinpoche, yesterday when you spoke about the 100 deities we have in our body and in our mind, and you speak about the connection with the scientific investigation, but I couldn't understand how is the connection. I couldn't understand that.
The connection with what?
With the scientific investigation about the brain and the deities.
The Khasang Rinpoche ki shitoha ki namba de semna sanjung impala de tsunepi ki tao dang dawa de yore shere dawa de sabo goso maso.
다탄다 아테네 세리바가 다와라 셈테 레발이 와레 세그레바 테니 레페농 컨그르지 세게 와레 레발라 따게 와레 테니 넘통총 가살라 테니 테 레발란 도게 와레 테니 테 남바 상지베 다와라야 테니 레발라 단다 남소든 초게 와레 테니 두징아 치자지 딘 센시 테 단다 히트로 단다 투 파르도 투드로 농다 tene hitu ga nangla tene bawa tu la zu nga chu thambate lepa la gong gu bi junsen te tene duji nga chu cha chi nam to te lepa le thogi yo be chirna tene lepa la tene yong yo la tene te senri pa ge ta ti lepa la ten do so ne sem te lepa re singu ji che yo ba.
When scientists look at the mind, they examine the brain and they see that we have feelings and we have thoughts and there is activity in the brain. There is this motion and activity in their brain that they look, and so they look and they perceive that activity in the brain and they say, oh, that must be the mind. Now, in terms of the Buddhist way of looking at it, we have mind and mental factors. The 51 different formations, or mental factors or formations is the same word. These 51 mental formations are like the thoughts, and these formations are within our brain. This is as described in the Great Liberation on Hearing, or the Tibetan Book of the Dead. What's described there is that the wrathful deities, the 50 wrathful deities, their mandala is within our brain. And so these are the pure manifestation of the 51 formations. And these 51 formations are the different sorts of thoughts that appear. And so these thoughts are, in their impure form, these thoughts do appear in the brain. And so when they observe it, then it seems like all of these thoughts are in the brain.
Rinpoche, thank you for giving such wonderful teachings on Nundro. I did Nundro about 25 years ago, and it occurs to me that probably would be a good idea to do it again, given the fact that I'm a very slow student, and I think maybe the first time I did it, maybe I didn't do it properly or something. Anyway, I'm just asking for older students like myself if there are guidelines, if Rinpoche could give some guidelines about whether we should do Nundro over again or how we should regard Nundro.
네, 지금 말한 게 원시 생각에나 그건 사례. 제사례. 근데 지진의 야보 양저체나 야보 연설에 가에서나 데카스다 싫어 하고 마서 네 야보 제마서 야보 좀 마서 이는 네 콘서트네 로만 캠프 데서 아니 양저체거나 칸데체거래서
먼저 대 양저뜻이나 야부 싫어도 양저뜻이나 배 펜도 첨부 용그래 가리레세나 되네 단다 엄마 되네 다땡어나 종 샤체기리 로마 단다 빼마 주저 생기지 여러분 디게 로마 텐솔라 콩게 문도 차이기레 마치나 의이 너무 난거 말했어요 되네 띵문도 차이기레 지 되네 의이 감 텐데지 빼 냠도 봐 야부지 디 근데 뼈마 주자가 로마 인선도가 son고지 만다완다지 요래 라 근데 때때서 근도 지톱나 야부 요래라 양 근도 차상지 말하나 차상 양저도 차상 범이야 양 첩다 이자도 차상지 말하나 양 이자도 범수 잠도한다소 저때때서 만다란다 뭘 텐데시나 야부 휴다 용 그래 봐 차상 범이야 잘 맞았나 차상 범이 잘 톱나 야부래라 차상봉기 잘 맞았나요? 근데 용자라도 되는데 갈리 수냠나 팽게도 야보다네 냠니시다 야부용 그래봐.
If you do the preliminaries again, then it would probably be beneficial. It would probably be it would be quite good, and it would probably bring you great benefits. And the reason is, as once there was a lama named Pema Choephel. And Lama Pema Choephel had all of his students do ngundro or preliminary practices 4 times before he would give them any instructions on the main practice. And so he had this tradition of doing, and the reason he did that is if they did ngundro 4 times before receiving the instructions on the main practice, then it turned out really quite well. Everything worked very well. And so this was a very good way to do it. And so sometimes if there was a student who had done ngundro several times, they'd say, it must have been one of Pema Choephel students who was there doing that. And so it is a good idea, if you can, to do ngundro over again. And so if you can do 100,000 of each again, that is very good. But if you are unable to do 100,000 of each, then you can do maybe a few hundred of each, maybe a few hundred prostrations, a few hundred of Vajrasattva, a few hundred of each. And so you just keep doing them. So if you can do 100,000 of each, that's very good. Or if you can't, then you just sort of figure out how much you can do and keep doing them. And as much as you do them, then they will be beneficial for you.
Is it better to do them all at once or one at a time?
Dezo chachi la chena yapo yana ane tne chi sane shinda che kande kasare.
Te kande china chiyo mare. Ta te rang mubata tene rang netsulta tene nyamni china yapo chida yung kore ba.
There's really not a whole lot of difference whichever way you do it. You just sort of take a look at what your interest is, how you are, and sort of think about how your practice goes and look at what's best for your own practice and do what you need to.
Okay. Thank you.
Rinpoche, I wonder if there's time. I had a further clarification around the peaceful and wrathful deities.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yesterday, what I heard you say was that because the mental events or thoughts have force to them, that they're associated with the brain, and that the consciousnesses reside or are associated in the heart. And I was curious about that because some of the mental events are more gentle, like loving kindness, and they're not what we think of as wrathful. Whereas, for example, the 7th consciousness is what we call afflicted, and it's fixated, and I thought it was interesting that that ended up in the heart.
Samsam jung niging na ne Rinpoche ki khasa Semjung da nanto de tsula shoot yore. The shoot your de Lebanon yores. The Tsoje de so the Shiwa yores, Ninkala yores. Yine Semjung Kashe, the test Champo Rabo yores, Jam Ninja, and deso the Jam yores. Young and numbership at so gain on it, so Jumpa de Ni de tes New Mompo Yambala. Share it. Kind of together.
Yinaya tatanda number keep two jig on Japati Nyai, Dumbati Nyai, te Yinaya Nyai, te dancing tower. Tene te give me Lumatin song the nani, te Nyai, te Lumatin Yogre. Dibla Lumatin, Tabalana Diba, Lumatin Baligagre, Tiniti Salchati, Tempo, Yepa, Tati, number keep a 2G, the Chitank Salcha, Zomkela, Naranzo, Donangima in Basem, Salcha, Zomkela, Tati Hipatento, Musa, Yul Soso, and Jupala Musum, Viorella, Teacher Na, Tatinzo Chitank, Lucella, Chapasawas, Nina, Jene, Nepandabote, Imbicherna, like he would number. Hiwagi Chuzani Tingala Gomgiore. Tene Namto Rakwa Sina, Gewaina in the Migewaina in the Hop Kala Tapena, and Sodaboji in the Balab, Janson Daboji in Semte, number Hibatsuji, the Janson Daboji in Tene, Dujinga Jusaji, the Balab Daboji, the Lab Daboji, Yungi. Labda boji imbichana ko tele rakpanda boji yungi yore la tini teacher na ta namto yang na desha hedan temu jamba nyingi kora tsorwa hiu chimbo je yungi yore la tini teacher na la tu ge namba tendu de la tesi top ndabo nubanda bo yapanda boji la tengi yore ba.
But the seventh consciousness is very subtle. It's extremely fine and subtle. So among the three of virtuous, non-virtuous, and neutral, the seventh consciousness is neutral. It's obscured neutral because it is obscured obscured from liberation, but it is also neutral. So it is obscured neutral. But it also has a clear part, and that clear part of it is very stable. And so all consciousnesses have this clear, stable part. It is just the clear awareness. It is just the faculty of awareness that is present with all consciousness. And that is what we mean by consciousness. It is this clear aspect that is always there. And so that is the peaceful aspect of it. And so among all the different parts of the body, the area where it is said to stay is the heart. However, we also have the coarse thoughts. And these coarse thoughts, whether they are virtuous or non-virtuous, they're like waves. If our consciousness is like an ocean, then there is the movement upon it, and these are the waves. And so the waves that move up and down. So any thoughts that we have are like waves. So whether the thought is one of desire, hatred, ignorance, or loving kindness, or compassion, these are all thoughts that have a certain amount of power, that have a certain amount of force to them. And so they have that force and that strength to them. And so for that reason they appear, or they are have the aspect of being the wrathful aspects, the forceful, the wrathful deities. And so that is why they're the wrathful deities who are in our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Meche Thrangu Dorje Surab Ta